Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Have you ever bought fresh fruit and you brought it home, it looked okay in the store, and you bring it home and it's like, yeah, after maybe a day or two, and I know you're supposed to eat it up right away like berries, specifically blackberries, but you know, they have a lifespan, and if they don't look so good, or you get them at the store and they don't look so good, I've come up with a really great recipe that you can use not perfect fruit up. And you don't have to eat it fresh. It's going to be baked in these delicious Blackberry Shortbread Bars, and they're awesome. And they only make about 9 big ones, or you could probably get about 12 smaller ones. And they're great for breakfast, I will tell you that right now. So before we get started, I want you to click that notification button because I want you to become a subscriber. I don't want you to miss any of my tips or videos because they're really good and they're helpful. And I love having you with me in my kitchen. It's like having friends here. Okay, blackberries. So I went to the grocery store and I bought some blackberries and they were awful. They tasted terrible. They were bitter. They were not very sweet. And I said, what can I do? What can I do? So I didn't want to throw them out because berries in general can be expensive. So what I did was I had about 2.5 cups left over, that the ones that I could tolerate that I ate. So I washed and dried them and I put them into this really nice shortbread bar. It's really easy. So what you do is you preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I lined a 9-inch square pan. I sprayed it with nonstick cooking spray. And then I lined one end of it. I put some parchment in just so the parchment came up on the sides. And the other sides can be without any as long as you grease it. And then spray again. Set it aside. We are going to make a shortbread base, and we're going to save some of the shortbread base to crumble on top. It's awesome. And I make the base in a food processor. You don't have to, but it's super easy to do it. So 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And I just put that right in there. And then I'm going to take 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. So this actually would be wonderful if you just patted it into a pan and baked it and ate it as a cookie itself. It's delicious. It's very tender. It's yummy. 1/8 teaspoon of salt, just like a pinch. And then what I did was I took like a teaspoon of lemon zest. This happens to be zest from 1 whole lemon, but you can take as much or as little as you want. And I'm just going to blend it so that the zest gets homogeneously blended because zest is wet and it's hard to do. All right, and I just want the sugar and the flour and the salt to get blended together. And then we're going to do what a typical shortbread is, butter. You're going to add cold butter, 1.5 cups. Cubed, 1.5 sticks, 1.5 sticks, which is 12 tablespoons of cubed butter. And you're going to put that in there. And it's hard because it's cold. That's why the food processor comes in handy. You could either cut it in to pea-sized pieces, or you could actually just pulverize it in your food processor, but pulverize only to pea-sized pieces. Now, my little hack so the flour doesn't get all over anybody, is to pulse it with a clean kitchen towel on top. Just pulse, 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 until you get about pea-sized pieces. And it's so delicious and tender. And we're going to use some of this. We're going to dump it into a bowl right now. I like to dump it into a bowl, and it should clump together. You should actually see clumps, all right? It is not a very wet streusel because it's going to be a streusel on the top, but it's going to be the base, the shortbread base. So I'm going to take my beautiful blackberries that are not perfect and put them on the side. And if I mix this up a little bit, you can see the pea-sized pieces of the fat. That's what we want. And if you really crumble them up, they go into clumps. You see that? Clumps. So we want about 3/4 of a cup. I'm going to take 3/4 of a cup out of here. I'm just going to estimate 3/4 of a cup, and I'm going to put it on the side because that is going to be my topping. Okay? And the rest of it, I am going to put into my prepared pan. Just going to dump the rest of it in my prepared pan. And then with my hands, I'm just going to scatter it around, and I'm going to pat it down. And it's pretty dry, but it's going to bake into this delicate shortbread. Really nice, very buttery, very tender from all that butter. Whoop, I don't want to use that because that's going to be my topping later. And then we're going to put blackberries on top of a filling that's made with yogurt, some eggs. It's like a breakfast, right? It's like a breakfast bar, although it's very good for dessert as well. And you're going to really pack it in. Remember, I've preheated my oven to 350. I'm going to go bake this for about 12 to 14 minutes, and it's not going to get too brown. Don't let it get too brown, but between 12 and 14 minutes until it just begins to get a little bit firm, but it still will be very tender. So don't get taken by that. 12 to 14 minutes, take it out and let it cool. I'll be back. So my shortbread base has come out of the oven. So it's been in about 14 minutes. It's not totally brown, it's barely brown. And don't touch it because it's like so buttery, it will come off in your hands. And now we're going to put our filling first, a yogurt, egg, sugary, wonderful filling. And then we're going to put our blackberries on top and the rest of the shortbread base, which we're calling a streusel. And then we bake it. So you're going to maintain your oven temperature at 350 degrees that you bake the base at. Keep it on. Keep your oven temperature going. I have 2 eggs in a good sized bowl. Okay. I have 1 cup of granulated sugar. And I have 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour that's going in. And I'm just going to get that mixed a little bit. It's going to be very dry because we need some yogurt. 1 5.3 ounce plain Greek yogurt. Try to use the high fat if you can. If you want to use fat-free, it works great. If you want to use another type of yogurt, any type of plain yogurt would work. So if you want to use another type, go ahead. And then I always like to put in a little vanilla extract. So I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon pure vanilla extract. No substitutes, no imitation. And you're going to whisk that up. Okay, you're going to whisk that up. Get all around the edges. And it's going to be almost like a custardy filling. It is delicious. It is so good. I'm telling you, my family loves it for breakfast. Dessert, breakfast, anytime. It's so good. I'm just going to whisk that until everything is homogeneously blended. And then before I pour it on the top, I have my berries, 2.5 cups of my berries, not so great, right? Fresh if possible. And then I took 3 tablespoons, because they're blackberries, I took 3 tablespoons of blackberry preserves. This is seedless blackberry preserves. And I stirred it up, so broke it up, because sometimes preserves can be, or jam can be really stiff because of the pectin in it. So I'm just going to pour it on top, and I'm going to slowly fold them together. Okay. And just gently bring it together. You don't even want to use a rubber spatula because I don't want to break the berries. And if they break, who cares? They weren't so great to begin with. I'm harsh. I'm a harsh critic, right? But why shouldn't we be, right? We like to eat good things. You like to eat good things, great things, right? And that's what we're doing. See how it's coating the berries with this beautiful jam or preserves, whatever you want to use. Really, really nice. So I'm going to put that on the side. And then I'm going to bring this over. It's still a little warm. You want to let it cool down just a little so you don't cook your eggs. And then you're going to pour this over the base. Just pour it over the base. All right. Pour it right all over. Get every bit in there. And it will make like a layer. You'll see like a yogurt layer. And then you'll see the berries get in there, and just spread it out a little. Okay, spread it out. There you go. And berries. So you're just going to gently spoon them on top. Okay. Oh, it looks nice. I love the contrast of the yogurty egg filling, the middle part with the berries. So pretty. And you can use any berry you want. Just don't use a very watery berry. And remember, you're saving this for your berries. They're not like perfect to eat, because I don't like to bake with, really perfect berries. I sort of like to use those as a, garnish on top, or use them on top of a fruit tart or something. But these are like, and now we're going to cover these with our streusel-y shortbread topping. I'm going to squeeze it so that it gets into clumps, and I'm going to clump, 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 clump. And this is also really, really good for vanilla ice cream. Somebody told me. I've had it with a lot of vanilla ice cream. It's so good. It's so good. You cannot stop eating this. It's so good. And you're going to bake it between 50 and 55 minutes, okay? 50 to 55 minutes at 350 degrees. Just coat it all with that beautiful shortbread streusel. And this will come out bubbly and brown. So you're going to see the fruit bubble, and you are going to see it get nice and brown. So 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 to 55 minutes. So the fruit is bubbly, and I'll see you back. Blackberry Shortbread Bars. They're not bars yet, but they're gorgeous, bubbly. I told you the fruit gets bubbly. It gets nice and brown on top. They just came out, and I'm letting them cool completely, and then I'm going to put them in the refrigerator before I cut them up into beautiful bars and eat them. So I hope you become a subscriber, and I hope you look on Instagram to see the big reveal inside. Until next time.